Where should the number one quarterback in the transfer portal go? Florida State or Miami? Now, there may be some other options out there for Cam Ward, but these are the only two schools at this point in time that are getting visits. There may be visits down the road after the fact, but right now, again, Miami, he just visited, going to visit Florida State here pretty soon. So as it stands right now, what is the best spot for him? There's a couple of factors to this, a couple of ways to look at it. Jesse Simonton has a great article on all3.com about this very topic, so go check that out. We'll give you our 2 cents, though, right now. First things first, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel, talking college football every single day. It's portal season, man. The game don't take a break. We don't take a break either right here on the Hard Count, so we appreciate y'all being locked in. Also, get at me on the socials now. Twitter, Instagram, at JD Pickell. I want to hear from y'all. Let me know where you think Cam Ward should go between these two schools or somewhere else, which is also very much so a possibility as it stands right now. Again, transfer portal, a lot of moving parts, but we're going to focus on these two schools right now. So let's start with Miami. Just visited. Sounds like you're rubbing shoulders with Rick Ross at Prime 112. I mean, that's a good life. I'm just saying. It's got to be a nice little impression when you take your visit to Coral Gables. But when it comes to what Miami is, the draw to Miami, to me, the reason to commit there would be the system. Because Cam Ward, we talk so much about fit, especially when it comes to these quarterbacks. Like Cam Ward comes from an air raid system at Washington State. Threw for over 3,700 yards, 7.7 yards a pass. So you would imagine, okay, I got a good thing going where I was. I probably want to build upon that at my next destination if I want to have a phenomenal 2024 season. Shannon Dawson, we said it a lot when he got to Miami. He is an air raid kind of offensive coordinator. Now, you didn't see it quite as much this past season. Some of that could be the personnel, but I think with Cam Ward in that offense, you would see a higher volume of passes attempted. They were right around 50-50 last year. I think it would be a lot more of a pass-friendly offense with Cam Ward. So all that's to say, it's a talented roster, a young roster that is going to cycle up from a 2023 class that was top 10 in the country. A couple of guys that made an impact last year as a freshman. You would expect them to also be aggressive to add talent via the portal. I think Miami has a lot of pieces, and if you plug Cam Ward into that operation, you have a chance to be really successful. But again, going back to how you decide where to go between Miami and Florida State, it comes down to priorities. As with any decision you make, priorities are the filter which you run it through. And the priority that I think we would be able to glean if Cam Ward decides on going to Miami, it's saying, okay, I want to have the very best season individually I can have in 2024. I want to put my best foot forward for NFL scouts. I want to go and throw 30-plus touchdowns. I want to air it out. Like I'm going to Miami for that reason. And that's not to say you couldn't still do that at Florida State. But again, going back to the scheme, going back to the fit, Shannon Dawson, Cam Ward, I think it'd be a really nice match. So if it's truly about just having the very best season, statistically, I think Miami's the fit. Now, you look at Florida State. To comp these two, Miami, I think, is the higher ceiling option. You go there, you throw the ball around, put up big numbers, life is good. On the other side of that, though, Miami is an operation that went 7-5 last year, probably should have gone 8-4 if you take a knee. They're still, I think, on the climb. They're still trending upwards. They're still trying to get it off the ground. Florida State now, it's a stable operation. Florida State, to me, is the higher floor destination between these two. Because Mike Norvell, offensive head coach, offensive scored 35 points a game each of the last 2 years. They won 10 games last year, undefeated this past season. The folks in Tallahassee very strongly feel like they should have made the college football playoff. It is off the ground. It is cruising. Okay, so you're going to a place where you feel confident about the direction and structure of that organization to where they're at currently. All right, nothing fluky about what Mike Norvell's done at Florida State. What he's done right now has some staying power. Also worth noting, talking about the transfer portal, people talk about going to Ohio State to play wide receiver because that's probably the position they develop one of the best at, or Georgia and Alabama for the defensive line because they develop really well at that position. On a broader scale, Florida State, if you're a transfer portal player, there is proof of concept for development and for immediate success right when you get to Tallahassee. Keon Coleman, Jaheim Bell, Johnny Wilson, all three guys, portal players, all three of those guys pretty quickly got up to speed and did phenomenal things in Tallahassee. Now, it's not to say those players didn't still work their tail off to get to where they are, but when you talk about a transfer portal player, we talk so much about fit, we talk so much about what surrounds you, what's your environment, how long is it going to take for you to get acclimated. Florida State, by nature of the portal success they've had, by nature of the players that have had success from the portal, you have to feel like if you're reading the room, the tools for success there are very much so readily available. Also, going back to this, having an offensive coach, your numbers may not be as gaudy, but you talk about the development from a Jordan Travis under Mike Norvell, from where he was early in his career, saying, hey, coach, I don't even know if I want to play quarterback anymore. I'm getting out here just bodied by some of these fans on Twitter. Like, I'm not having success the way I want to have success. I'll help the team, but maybe not at quarterback. The way he struggled early in his career to what he was this past season, ton of credit to Jordan Travis, a lot of credit also to Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins. And so Cam Ward, with what he does physically and just the things that God gave him, I think that there's reason to expect this offense to even be elevated from what Jordan Travis was doing with what Cam Ward is doing, just purely from a throwing the football downfield standpoint. Cause for a lot of excitement. Maybe the numbers aren't as good as they would be if you played in a more wide open offense, but for Florida State, the development factor, how it could set you up when you get to the NFL, how you would look at your pro day, how you would perform at a combine if you were to go out there and throw the football and feel comfortable in an offense that's a little bit more similar to the NFL kind of mold. I think that could be a good fit as well. So again, Miami, high ceiling operation. You go there, you put up huge numbers, make a splash for the NFL, and say, yeah, this kid, he can compete at the highest level. We want him part of our organization. Florida State, the high floor option. Not that you can't still put up great numbers, but that organization is stable. Proof of concept with portal players, offensive coach, an offense that scored 35 points a game the last couple of years. They're doing something right in Tallahassee. You go be a part of that. I think it's plug and play. I think it's immediate success. You pick up where Jordan Travis left off, and I think even build upon that by nature of what he has physically. So here's what I'll say about Cam Ward. He's the number one quarterback in the transfer portal for a reason. And we were talking earlier today, sort of thinking about who could be conference championship winners next season. Went through the SEC, went through the Big Ten, got to the ACC, and quite honestly, my winner for the ACC next season, pretty heavily impacted by wherever Cam Ward decides to go. He is that much of an impact to wherever he ends up, especially between these two schools. Because Florida State, the roster, I think, speaks for itself. Mike Norvell, what he's done there speaks for itself. You add in a guy of his talent level, like I just said, Florida State, they don't lose anything. They don't have this big recalibration season. For Miami, again, 7-5, should have been 8-4, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm here for it. Tons of talent. That roster, if you have a capable quarterback who doesn't turn it over the way that they did last season, gave it away right around 2 times a game, and still won 7 ball games, should have been 8 ball games, there's a lot there. There's a lot to like there if you plug in someone like a Cam Ward. So all that's to say, wherever he ends up will have a massive impact on the ACC title race. Arguably, will have a massive impact on the college football playoff race going forward, but this is a big fish out there. So we'll keep an eye on this. But when it comes down to what you want if you're Cam Ward, do you want to commit to the system and the high ceiling operation, or you want to commit to the high floor operation? I think if you have 1 year, and I'm imagining that's what Cam Ward wants to do, 1 year, then we're going to the league. I think you go for the place with the least amount of risk. And so Miami makes a ton of sense for all the reasons I've already named. But I think if I'm looking at just, quite frankly, I want to make sure I pick the best spot with the most mitigated risk, Florida State to me would be that spot. So again, check out that great article by J.C. Simonton. I lean towards Florida State being the safer option for Cam Ward. But I'll tell you what, you play safe games, you get safe prizes. Both good options. Just comes down to priorities. Keep it locked right here. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JD Pickell. I want to hear from y'all. So get at me on both those platforms. Let me know where you think Cam Ward should go, Miami, Florida State, or otherwise, and we'll have a good time discussing it. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.